Other interesting cultural news, you have Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce calls for a Starbucks boycott after the Starbucks union tweets support for Hamas. Yep, I want to say I called it, but well, actually no. Wait, I do kind of say it. Like every once in a while, I do prefer saying that. So yes, I did call this because another great thing about unions is they represent your company without really being the company. So Starbucks is a huge union, which again another reason if you are anti-union or if another reason not to shop at Starbucks if that's your I was gonna say it kind of is I would say a political ideology, but I can't help but reminisce when I think of Starbucks. I think of the man. Oh, I would say he's not really a man. He's more of a boy. There's a legal aged man working at Starbucks who broke down and cried because he had to work 8 hours and the orders were complicated, which is the most pathetic thing and a great metaphor for the United States right now of how mentally and physically weak we've become throughout the years. My grandpa worked in an aluminum foundry 7 days a week without complaining once for years. And now you have the youth complaining because a drink is complicated to make. Which, again, is the only reason Starbucks exists is because of these complex drinks that have more chemicals than I can possibly pronounce. But nevertheless, these candy bars in a cup are how they stay in business. They don't make a lot, I would say, that they don't make their profit making the simple drip coffee. It's about the complex orders where they can charge a premium, and that's how the company grows and develops, and that's how they can already pay their employees more than the industry average and give them better health benefits than average. But of course, it's not enough. The union wants more. Now, recently, the Starbucks union tweeted support for Hamas, which is, right now, culturally speaking, the most controversial thing you could possibly do after Hamas attacked the citizens of Israel, as well as, I believe, some Israeli soldiers, and literally killed defenseless women and children. And the union praised that organization. Yeah, so now, of course, it makes sense. I'm surprised there isn't more people being more vocal about this boycott. Will it gain more traction? That's going to be really where the tires hit the ground, so to say. Now, it looks like specifically the chamber, again, this is the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, and they said, quote, "This will send a strong message against the normalization of violence and hatred. Please join us in raising awareness about this distressing issue. Share this boycott with friends, family, and coworkers, urging them to reevaluate their choices and consider the implications of supporting Starbucks," unquote. They continue to say, another quote, "Together, let us make a resounding statement against the indifference displayed towards the loss of innocent lives," unquote. Now, I can actually tell someone watching did click the subscribe button because I didn't even stutter once throughout that quote. Perhaps the cure really is that all along. Time shall tell. We'll need more studies. Now, it'll be interesting to see. We saw the Bud Light boycott was huge. 30% of their sales gone. I mean, Q2, they lost $400 million in sales compared to the same fiscal Q2 last year. Now, that's very dramatic to say the least. But again, in terms of the overall Anheuser-Busch InBev, that's for that one specific brand. Don't get me wrong, they still lost about $28 billion in stock valuation. But the other brands of Anheuser-Busch InBev, they're usually down between 10 to 5% in terms of loss of sales. Now, in this particular case, Starbucks is much less diverse in terms of, well, ironically in many ways, but it's one of those things where Starbucks, they have one brand. It's Starbucks that people know about. That's the big thing. It's the majority of the company assets. So it's very, very easy to boycott this particular company. Now, in terms of coffee, I'm pretty frugal. I just go to the big box mart and buy the biggest bag of whole bean coffee for the lowest price per unit. And it tastes well enough. And I just add a little bit of ice so I can just drink it pretty quick, basically like water. And it tastes okay. Now, in terms of Starbucks, I see their value as being a mobile office if you're between meetings. They used to be very clean. They actually had some environments where you could get some work done in between meetings. That's the only time I could actually justify paying I wouldn't have paid $4 to $5 for a cup of coffee. And don't get me wrong, it tastes pretty good. But in terms of this boycott, how many people, it's a huge cultural phenomenon. Some people go to Starbucks every single day. I call those people millionaires or people who are not fiduciarily or fiscally sensible. It blows my mind. I can't imagine having that much extravagance in your life where you're paying $5, $10 a day just for coffee. But nevertheless, there's some people who have a huge cultural following for Starbucks. And as a business, they've done great throughout the years. Their loyalty system is on par with nothing. I mean, it's superior to every other brand. They really want you to come back to the store, and they give you incentives to do so. Now, let me know in the comments, will this change your spending habits? Would you be willing to shop at a different coffee shop? Now, this is perhaps why it might be a little bit more difficult than Bud Light in terms of a boycott. Bud Light, if you look at the competition, a lot of their sales comes from convenience sales. When I say convenience sales, it's not a restaurant where you sit down, or a bar, or a ball game, or a sports ball stadium. It's a big box mart, grocery store, it's a gas station, places where you purchase the product, consume somewhere else. And in those cases, when you go to the refrigerated section, the competition is right there, mere inches away. So in terms of boycotting Bud Light, that was extremely easy and also beneficial for your taste buds, as many would argue. Now, with Starbucks, they actually have exclusivity contracts with a lot of strip malls. And what that means is they're a very investable company in terms of when they go and they see there's going to be a new development over here, there's going to be 12 new stores. Starbucks will actually go up and they'll say, hey, we will pay and we will be the first store. We'll be the anchor store, the one that gets this venture started. We will put down deposit. We'll be your first store. However, with this risk, we're going to be the first person committed to this new development. We want to make sure we get a good ROI. So part of the commitment is going to be contingency in the contract that says you cannot have any other tenants in this area or this development that are coffee stores. That's why if you go to any of these strip malls or any of these just groups of stores, you never see a competitor to Starbucks. It's not a coincidence. It's a brilliant business move, and it's very mutually beneficial for both the constructor or the contractor of that, or the contractor and the holding company behind those developments, but also Starbucks. So in terms of boycotting, you might have to go out of your way quite a bit. Heaven forbid, you actually might have to grind up your own beans at home and create it yourself for a fraction of the cost. So let me know in the comments. I think that is the reason why it might not be as successful, fiscally speaking, as a boycott in terms of knocking their sales down 30%. Because again, competition-wise, you do have Dunkin' Donuts. I think that's probably the only big fast place I could think of that's moderately comparable. But in terms of a premium coffee experience that some of these people crave, let me know in the comments, what do you think is a comparable competitor to Starbucks? And don't get me wrong, it's a luxury item you don't need. So from that perspective, it should be easy to boycott. But if you're someone who wants coffee on the go and you want it to be a premium blend or a premium nice cup of joe, as some might say, although these days they might call it Joanna, and I dare not guess what the cup is. But let me know in the comments, where would you go? And do you think this boycott will be as successful as the Bud Light one? Or will it just be a fraction of the same success rate because of the aforementioned? Let me know in the comments. Be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. I'm trying to get again to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October, so you can click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to comment. Your feedback is greatly appreciated as we want to make the show better and better and better. Also, liking the video is a great way to show support and show that you appreciate the content. And if you think it should be worse, or you probably don't want it to be worse, but nevertheless, if you think it could be improved, give it a downvote. Let me know in the comments what it could do better next time. Also, lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.